Good morning, everyone. It is December 31st, 2025, and this is the first episode of PSN FC. I'm your host, Quinn Blackman, and I am really grateful and excited to start this podcast and give you all, the listeners, some world football coverage, hopefully on a weekly basis. And coming into a World Cup year, I think this is going to be a great opportunity for me to grow the platform of the Pyramid Sports Network Football Club and allow us to interact on a pretty weekly basis, depending on coverage and games of a certain time. But yeah, I'll just go ahead and get right into it. We have recently been watching the African Cup of Nations over the last couple of weeks, and it just got out of the group stage. And I was just going to go through kind of the group winners, the runner-ups, and then it's into the round of 16. So there will be the four best third place teams will make it through into the round of 16 of the African Cup of Nations. So the first Group A winner is Morocco, who I think is the clear favorite to win this tournament and have had great play from Brahim Diaz from Real Madrid, who has bagged 3 goals so far in the tournament, and he has been one of the biggest standouts so far, and is really just in great form right now. And they have just gotten Achraf Hakimi back from injury, and he will be, just a great addition to what Morocco already has as one of the best clubs in Africa, and they will look to continue that into the round of 16. Um, and Achraf Hakimi coming back is not only huge because it's his first time back from injury, but it'll be big for Paris Saint-Germain as they continue to build on their Champions League success and try and defend their title from last season. And then Group B, we have Egypt. They won their group and did it pretty comfortably, finishing with, let's see, they finished, get the standings up. Um, uh, so going back to Morocco finished with 2 wins, 1 draw, no losses, goal differential plus fives, only conceded once. Egypt finished similarly. They finished 2 wins, 1 draw, no losses, and had only had 3 goals scored. But having Mo Salah being there has kind of provided them a boost. I think he needed to get away from all of the drama at Liverpool, and this has kind of provided for him that kind of outlet, I think. And he always looks like he has so much fun when he's playing for Egypt and playing for his country. And I really think that it's going to be kind of a big step in the right direction for him, because I think that this summer he will probably look away from Liverpool and his agent will kind of begin to see maybe Saudi Arabia, maybe coming to the MLS. But I think whoever it may be will have to be ready to pay a lot of money for Mohamed Salah come the summer. When we go into Group C, we have Nigeria. They went three wins in group play, beating Tunisia, Tanzania, and Uganda. Scored 8 goals, conceded 4. We had great play from Ademola Lookman, and he bagged a couple goals in yeah, he bagged 2 goals um, in the group play, and has been, just a great a great leader for this team. Victor Osimhen as well had, I think he had 2 goals as well. Don't quote me on that. Let's see, I will get you that number right now. So Victor Osimhen, let's find it. No, Victor Osimhen scored 1 goal. However, he's just, he's still class through and through. We'll get into Group D. Senegal came away as a Group D winner. They went 2 wins, 1 draw in group play, 7 goals for, 1 conceded. And then in Group E, we had Algeria winning through all 3 of their matches. Group F, we had Ivory Coast, who ended up being their group winner. And then when we go to the runner-ups, we had Mali out of Group A advancing to the round of 16, South Africa out of Group B, the Democratic Republic of the Congo out of Group C, Burkina Faso out of Group E, Cameroon out of Group F, and Tunisia out of Group C. And then the exciting part is the best third place teams, the four best that will round out the four last teams in the round of 16 are Tanzania, Benin, Sudan, and Mozambique. Um, and then so the African Cup of Nations, I really think it is just such a fun tournament to watch because all of these countries don't necessarily have as big of a platform as, say, the your Europa League or not the Euros or other continental tournaments, but the um, the pride of these African nations and the players that choose to play for their African nation is just one of it. Just seems like it trumps just lots of other things, and I think especially when you look at some of the for example, some players from France or some players from England or players from, Belgium or other big European powers like that who choose to play for these countries where they do have citizenship, and it is not a knock on them, but they also are typically from or have a parent from one of these African nations. And I do wish there was a world where we could see the Kylian Mbappe's of the world or the Bukayo Saka's of the world play for their native countries in Africa and really grow the game in that aspect because it is Morocco. You see, Morocco is one of the best clubs in the world, and Nigeria is one of the best nations in the world. Nigeria is through and through a competitive national team, and will look to make some noise in the World Cup. And I just wish there was a world where we could see a lot of these big stars play for their native country where they were born. And yeah, so for the round of 16, we're gonna start on um let's see. So we have Mali and Tunisia on Saturday. The group E, Senegal, and we'll play the best third place team from Group E. Um, we have Morocco and Tanzania on Sunday, South Africa, and the runner-up of Group F. The runner-up of Group F would be Cameroon. Morocco will play Cameroon. Um, here, let me see this. This is making it a little confusing. All right, so right now we have Equatorial Guinea is playing Algeria. Equatorial Guinea is rounding up group. That is a Group E match, just rounding up group play. But some of these nations have already clinched their spot through. Yeah, so the round of 16, we'll have Senegal. They don't know who they're playing yet. Mali and Tunisia, Morocco and Tanzania. South Africa does not know who they're playing yet. Egypt and Benin, Algeria and the Congo, Nigeria, TBD. And then there's one last match that is TBD as we have lots of seeding that's left to be done before we get out of the group stage. So that'll kind of round up the AFCON highlights. I'm going to push into Boxing Day a little bit. So we are going to go over to England and in the Premier League, a little update on the standings. So as we currently sit, Arsenal is 5 points clear of City after thumping Villa yesterday, but we're going to get to that a little bit later. I wanted to first start with Boxing Day this past weekend. We only had one Boxing Day match. It was United hosting Newcastle. Bruno Fernandes picked up a knock in their previous match and was out this game. So it was very interesting to see Patrick Dorgu kind of pick up the slack and ended up scoring just an incredible volley off a long throw. It was reviewed by the video assistant referee, but was later cleared for potential offsides by Mateus Cunha, who is really one of my favorite players to watch. He is so creative in the midfield, is always has his head up, is looking to feed Sesko, is looking to feed just a lot of players that are making advancing runs, and he's really fun to watch, really good player for me. He released Patrick Dorgu well all match, and really, although the score read 1-0, it was It was a very lopsided game almost in the Newcastle's favor. They had 66% possession and they had plenty of opportunities to score. Just could not find the net. Lewis Hall almost scored just an unbelievable goal from the left side of the 18-yard box and curled it over the keeper and just hit it off the frame of the goal. Sesko also put one off the post, the left post or the crossbar. That was just an absolute belter, but it didn't find it. It looked like he was starting to become more creative in this match, but he has definitely had a rough start for United. And I think it kind of goes to show you the difficulties of playing in the Premier League because you see it with Victor Gyökeres is still having some problems translating his game from still a great league in Portugal, but the Premier League is just so physical through and through. Diogo Dalot missed a golden opportunity in the 73rd minute for United to make it 2-0. But Newcastle just couldn't find the equalizer, and United ended up to win this match 1-0. And it helped them. It moved them up to sixth in the table. They have 30 points now. They 8-6, 8-6 and 5, 8 wins, 6 draws, 5 losses. And then we're gonna get into on Saturday. We also had Arsenal and Brighton. Arsenal ended up losing their midfielder Declan Rice for this game yesterday on Tuesday, but they Arsenal had to kind of panic. We're in a bit of a panic before the match started when Ricardo Calafiori picked up a knock in warm-ups, and he was not able to go, which then created this very, very big situation with the Gunners where they have Christian Mosquera also out, and Jurriën Timber had been sidelined for a bit, and they needed to slide Declan Rice to right back, and it was a seamless display of just pure footballing from Declan Rice. And I mean, I think that if you are going to pick your 5 candidates for the Ballon d'Or right now, if Declan Rice is not one of your 5 candidates, then you need to look yourself in the mirror a little bit. He is playing the absolute best football of his life right now, and is really the engine that for a pivot midfielder for Arsenal is just the guy that really connects the defense to the attack, plays box to box, can drive through the midfield to create opportunities, and he has just truly been a special player to watch. But it's it seems like every time Arsenal are scoring, Bukayo Saka is involved in some way or another. And in this match, Martin Odegaard scored within 20 minutes, and he was fed by Bukayo off the wing, and it was just an absolutely huge goal for the skipper for the Gunners. He needed it. He has been questioned a lot, myself included. Just watching Ebbs play, and it's there are different types of players. Odegaard looks to create in different ways than Eze scores, or Eze looks to create. Eze is much more of I'm looking to have a go as much as I can, where Odegaard looks to feed a little bit more. But this was just an absolute ripper from Odegaard. It was right outside the area. Looks like he's shaping up to go to the far post and just rips it low to the near post and makes it 1-0 to the Arsenal. Yeah, so Arsenal they go up 2-0. They scored another own goal off of Georgino Ruder. It was a service from Declan Rice is going to the near post. Gyökeres is making a run towards the near post, and Ruder just clinically slots it in for an own goal. And then Brighton get one back to make it 2-1 off of Diego Gomez. After a strike by Yassine Ayari hits the frame of the goal, kind of the far post ricochets out. Nothing really Raya could do. And Raya, I mean, he made a save on a Yankuba Minte later in the game. I think it was in the 83rd minute roughly, and he just gets a fingertip on this shot that's just curling. And it might have been the save of the season. But so Arsenal go win 2-1, 2-1 at home against Brighton. We're going to go to City and Forest. The big observations from there is everybody knows that Erling Haaland is the best striker in the world right now, and he can ruin a game in an instant. Early in the game, he had an opportunity where he doesn't even take a touch. A ball kind of ricochets towards him, and he just absolutely rips one, and it was a great strike. Got saved by the keeper, but City is really. I mean, if you at one point in the match, I think they had 530 passes to Forest, like 280 or 300 something, and it's just ridiculous the type of ball that Pep has those guys playing over there. But they're so creative in movements and into the channel and creating space through pockets, and it's a really fun brand of football to watch, especially right now. Ryan Cherky is um, arguably the engine that's making City go right now. He has 5 goals and assists in his last 5 matches in all competitions. He had a beautiful assist that right out of the break, and then ended up scoring a goal to make it the winning goal to make it 2-1 to City, and it's just unbelievable. It was off a corner. It gets played kind of short, rolls through to Ryan Cherky, and he just absolutely rips one of the lower left corner of the goal. And um, it's just a thrill to watch when City are really operating well and they are starting to come into form. And this is the type of club that you could see make a run for multiple trophies, and it's unbelievable to watch. I don't understand how more clubs. I know it's Pep ball, but there's so much creativity from all of the players, and now with them looking to sign Semenyo, I just don't know how they can keep this much talent on into 11 guys or a couple subs. But we're gonna get into um, Liverpool versus Wolves. Liverpool beat Wolves 2-1 with Ryan Gravenberch scored in the 41st minute. And then finally, the guy that cost them so much money, Florian Wirtz, scored his first goal for Liverpool in what is the 18th match for the Reds. And I mean, this is a guy who comes over from Germany and plays just outstanding football for the national team. And he just looks. I don't. There's something in the water this year with Liverpool. I think they tried to do too much in the transfer window, bringing in Wirtz, bringing in Ekatike, bringing in Isak, bringing in Gravenberch, or bringing in Frimpong, excuse me. And it's just they just did so much after winning the league, and I think that there was a lot of players that were the best player on their previous club, and when they come into Liverpool and you're at one of the biggest clubs in the world, and you're just not everybody can be the best player, and I think that takes some adjusting. But they're starting to get back into form. They've climbed to fourth in the table, back into European position, so I think it's going to be interesting to watch. They sneak away. Wolves have been playing some. It's weird. Everybody seems to play Wolves tight. The Gunners play Wolves pretty tight, and one off of an own goal a couple weeks ago. We'll go into Chelsea Villa. Um, Villa beats Chelsea 2-1, and so in the third minute, Cole Palmer has a huge chance. He misses it, but then we this is a note that I have. It's I am not a Chelsea supporter, but I love watching Moises Caicedo put his foot through a football because he hits the living shit out of the football, and I don't know how the net stops it, but it I feel like he's going to rip the net every single time. Like I would hate to sit behind the goal after when Moises Caicedo is looking to strike because that ball is probably coming at you at like damn near like 80 miles an hour, and it's entertaining. But in the 37th minute, João Pedro scores off a Reece James corner. Kind of just nicked him, so he got credit for the goal, but it was really just beautiful service by Reece James. Garnacho, wanted to highlight him. He seems very comfortable on the left flank for the Blues. Ollie Watkins was the story of the match. He came on off the bench after halftime and just seemed to be an instant impact player. And I think that Villa has so much talent. Or it's just they're really meshing so well right now. So he kind of has been a little bit overshadowed this year, but he comes off the bench, all these forward runs. Morgan Rogers is feeding him beautifully. He had so many opportunities and ends up scoring a brace off the bench, and he is just really he's that guy. And I mean, I think that Villa are grateful to have that kind of combination of or that trio really of Tielemans, Morgan Rogers, and Ollie Watkins kind of working through. And they've had great play from Jadon Sancho too, which is great to see for a guy who's bounced around so much in his career and has yet to really find a home. I don't think he has a contribution this year, but he he's just really been he's found his home there, and I think that it's something that's going to be really fun to watch as Villa just playing this team style of football. And Morgan Rogers is going to, I think, find himself very comfortably into the squad for England and the World Cup this coming summer. I think Ollie Watkins, you'll probably see him there too. Um, so kind of running through the rest of the games this past weekend, Fulham win 1-0 over West Ham thanks to Raul Jimenez goal in the 85th. Brentford absolutely destroyed Bournemouth, who have just taken a plummet. I think they're at one point top four in the table earlier in the season. They're 15th now. Bournemouth is 15th in the table, 23 points. However, 3 points separate 15th from 8th in the table. Or from 7th. So they're not too far back. But Semenyo did get one back for the Cherries, but I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if he's played his last game for them. Burnley and Everton draw, Leeds and Sunderland draw. However, there is a point in the Leeds and Sunderland matches. Dominic Calvert-Lewis has scored his sixth straight match and is just on an absolute burner right now. And Spurs beat Palace 1-0 thanks to Archie Gray's goal, first goal for Tottenham. And then we're going to go into a few games that were yesterday on Tuesday that I liked. Newcastle beat Burnley 3-1. They really just kind of buried the game in the first 10 minutes. Joelinton scores in the second minute. Johan Visa scores in the seventh. And then Burnley ended up getting one back in the 23rd. Josh Laurent scored, but then it was just too much to handle, and Newcastle kind of just dominated the match. Bruno Guimaraes scored in the 93rd minute in injury time and just kind of put the game away. And then if you had a chance to watch earlier in the afternoon, Chelsea and Bournemouth, they drew 2-2, but for about 15 minutes of the game, it was just end-to-end, just absolute mayhem. So Cole Palmer scores in the 15th minute after David Brooks got the scoring start in the 6th for Bournemouth. And then Enzo Fernandez scores just a ripper in the 23rd minute. And then just 4 minutes later, Justin Kluivert scores the level to score for Bournemouth. And it was just a pure end-to-end match that was something out of the early 2000s, and it was beautiful to watch. And at Stamford Bridge, when the crowd really gets into it, it's one of the greatest atmospheres in football. We had Everton beat Forest 2-0. West Ham and Brighton draw. United and Wolves draw, and somehow the Wolves pick up a point, their first point in what feels like 4 months. They pick up a point at Old Trafford, which is just unbelievable. Ruben Amorim cannot be happy with that. That's pretty embarrassing, honestly. Wolves have 2 points through what was 18 matches, and that is just historically terrible. And they're gonna have some trouble in the championship next year. Honestly, once they get dropped, they're gonna have some trouble. And then what I really want to get to, this was not originally going to be part of the pod. I was planning to record this yesterday. I ended up getting a little sick, so I couldn't yesterday. But so yesterday, Arsenal and Villa play, and Villa had a chance to go tied for top of the table with Arsenal had they come away with 3 points. And Arsenal and Villa, they go 0-0 and a half, come out of the break, and the Gunners Set Piece FC just comes out, and Gabriel, welcome back. He heads one home, or kind of takes a deflection. Martinez was super butthurt after on Instagram and was just calling for a foul the whole time. It was not a foul. That's okay. You just stop. The whole game, the whole match, all he wanted to do was take his grand old time on goal kicks, and was just pissing everybody off and trying to slow the game down. And at times there was a great pace of the game, and it just seemed like obviously Villa were trying to, slow the match down to take the crowd out of it, because Arsenal ended this season. They ended this season undefeated at the Emirates. But in the 52nd minute, Odegaard feeds Zubamendi, and this was really the best I'd seen Martin Odegaard play since, it might have been the 2023-2024 season. This was vintage Martin Odegaard, and he is still one of the best midfielders in the world. He feeds Zubamendi, And then in the 69th minute, Trossard scores. And in the 78th minute, one of the coolest scenes I've ever seen was on his first touch of the game, a little over a minute as he came on. Gabriel Jesus bagged his first league goal in an unbelievable amount of time coming off an ACL surgery and had missed plenty of time. And it was just the atmosphere at the Emirates. I encourage all of you to go and watch the highlights of this match. It was, I don't know how to clip things yet, but I will figure out eventually. For those of you that are watching, I will get some clips somehow, or I'll put them out on the Instagram or the Twitter. But it was chills, and I'm an Arsenal fan, so it was really chills for me. But unbiasedly, it was one of the coolest things seeing Gabriel come back and really just seeing Gabriel Jesus, um, slot one home because he is that type of difference maker for Arsenal. He's such a different striker than Gyökeres is. He has more creative runs. I don't want to get into because I don't know the answer who the first choice striker should be now that Havertz is back. Jesus bags one, and Gyökeres has been obviously playing for so long. But I I, I trust Mikel Arteta to make that decision. And in the 94th minute injury time, Ollie Watkins gets one back to make it 4-1. And that's how the game ended. There's also a sequence of David Raya making these just unbelievable saves towards the end of the match that were just incredible. And I think he's one of the best keepers in the world right now. Next up, we're going to get into some transfer window news. So it is looking just pretty evident and, any given moment now that Antoine Semenyo will be a citizen and will be on Manchester City. He has a release clause of £65 million that expires in a couple of weeks, and it looks like he wants to be on City. They want him. It is going to be unbelievable to see how City go about this. If they're going to have to let Marmoush go, or if they're going to have to make some other moves. But Jeremy Doku has been in the best form of his career this season, and City just it seems like Pep there's no loyalty out of Pep, truly. If you're in great form, if there's someone that's in better form somewhere else out there that they can go buy, he's going to do it. So that was from Fabrizio Romano, the absolute goat of reporting. If you don't, I have no relationship to Fabrizio Romano whatsoever. But if you want a good place to go outside of the Pyramid Sports Network FC podcast for football news, I would go follow Fabrizio Romano and Dave Ornstein. Fabrizio Romano is solo. Dave Ornstein's through the Athletic, two of the best out there. I hope they see this somehow. There's no way they see this, but I just like them. That's where I see a lot of news. The Telegraph reported that Liverpool might make a weight push for Semenyo, which I really don't think will matter. I think that Semenyo is going to be a City player. And Bournemouth is looking to replace Semenyo with a 21-year-old Leicester winger, Abdul Fatawu, who is just seemingly an electric player, but a young man who kind of these middle level clubs would look to take a shot on and let them develop in the Premier League, and potentially I think it would be kind of a value thing, kind of turn them into something. Moving on, Fulham are interested. As of yesterday, I think it was a $36 million or £1 million bid for Ricardo Pepi from PSV, and Ricardo Pepi is in. This is from the Daily Mail. Ricardo Pepi is in great form. He's really turned himself into a legitimate European striker, and 7 goals, 1 assist in league play this year, and it'll be interesting to see how much playing time he gets in the lead up to the World Cup for Poach. But keep going. Girona are interested in Marc-Andre Ter Stegen from Barcelona. If you don't know, Ter Stegen was the captain for Barca, and over the summer had some weird falling out with the coaching staff and with management, and they ended up stripping him of the armband. But now Girona are interested in acquiring him on a loan for the rest of the season, while Villa and Tottenham are also kind of in the chase for him. We're gonna keep going. Mikel Arteta said that Arsenal are actively looking via Sky Sports. They're actively looking for January signings. I don't know if they're actually going to make any signings. I don't think they will. I think if anything, they could, sign. It's not going to be a big name. Maybe they could get some depth. on in the midfield or depth in defense, especially with the injuries right now. Um, but I could see potentially there being a loan for Ethan Nwaneri. I really hope they don't do it because I think that he is an electric attacking mid and is learning from, two greats and can play both on the wing and essentially is learning under Saka, and it's just another example of Arsenal's academy just producing. But he could leave on a loan potentially. I don't know if I see it happening, but that's kind of been kicked around. Mark Gahey won't be leaving for Liverpool, won't be leaving Palace until the summer. It looks like Liverpool would prefer to do a deal with the player over the summer for free, which understandably so. They've spent so much money in the past 8 months. According to iPaper, Everton are considering loans. It would be kind of like a joint loan situation for Joshua Zirkzee and Kobe Mino from United, which would be super interesting. Everton's a fun club. They sit eighth in the table right now. Jack Grealish has, truly re kind of rejuvenated his career after being kind of pushed out of City. I think he will never go back there. He's on loan right now. Jordan Pickford continues to just be, that just a grumpy between the sticks guy, but who's still a first choice keeper for the national team. Um, but there were some rumors about Joshua Zirkzee going to Roma. But it'll be interesting to see if Kobe Mino, there might be a window now under Ruben Amorim for him to become more of a regular in the lineup now that Bruno Fernandes picked up a knock and could be out for a couple of weeks. So it'll be interesting to see. Some other news, just this is outside of transfer news. Just big things in world football. Wrexham, the story of the past couple of years. Owners are Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds. If you don't know, there's a absolutely wonderful documentary that is on. I think it's on Hulu about them buying the club and taking them from non-league football now in the championship. But Wrexham won 2-1 over Preston North End recently. Ali Rathbone scored a winner in the 77th minute. They're 4 points off of the championship playoffs in at the end of the year. And I mean, it's going to be unbelievable to watch these, the Red Dragons and see if they can run the table again and potentially gain a fourth straight promotion. And it would just be incredible. A little bit of men's national team news, U.S. men's national team news. Anthony Robinson returns from injury and immediately puts up a match rating of 8.08, and he's arguably the best left back in the Premier League. It's either him or Cucurella, I think. But Anthony Robinson just provides kind of a true wing back, overlapping runs, and he's pacey, he's physical. He's true class. And I think he's going to be a really fun player to watch with Chris Richards in the back at the World Cup for the national team. Moving over to Italy. In Italy, Christian Pulisic is tied for the Golden Boot race. He just bagged his eighth goal of the season, despite playing half the minutes that Lautaro Martinez has played, which is just incredible. Pulisic is, I mean, I could see him potentially, and they think that he could win Serie A Player of the Season, which I think puts him into, not that he would win the Ballon d'Or because, people have to hold a grudge against American footballers, but I think he could, he would be on that kind of watch list. And it's incredible seeing him come into his full form. He had a great start to his career at Dortmund, goes to Chelsea, kind of an outcast, and then is just the guy over in Milan. So it's great. But since his debut in 2023, 2024, only two players have 50 goal contributions, 50 or more goal contributions in league play in Serie A. And it is Christian Pulisic at 50 and Lautaro Martinez at 53. Over to the Premier League, Brendan Aronson from Medford, New Jersey. Shout out New Jersey. Shout out Medford. Shout out South Jersey. He is arguably in the best form of his career. This past weekend against Sunderland, he had 15 touches in the opponent's box, 5 chances created, almost scored, got taken off the line. And he's just in incredible form for the 25-year-old American, which is great to see before a World Cup year. Moving over to Coventry in the championship, Haji Wright and Coventry are still top of the table, 8 points clear. Brandon Thomas Asante he's second in the championship with 10 goals. Haji Wright has 8 goals, 1 assist in 16 league matches. And it's remarkable to see Coventry kind of making this rise up. And hopefully we'll be playing first division football next year, this time next year. So coming up, our next Champions League update. The next Champions League match day will be January 20th. Some big matches will be Arsenal and Inter, Dortmund and Spurs, and Galatasaray and Atletico. And then January 21st, there will be Marseille and Liverpool, Newcastle, PSV, Slavia Prague, Barca, and Juve Benfica. And so yeah, it's we're getting to an exciting time. We're going to start have some World Cup international friendlies come March. I'm actually going to the U.S. friendly against Belgium in March in Atlanta, so that'll be I'll definitely be releasing some content there. And then yeah, it's things are really picking up. There's going to be a lot of we're going to start to get into a little bit deeper the League Cup in England. We're going to get back into the FA Cup. Um, and the Champions League will pick up. But yeah, I wanted to end it since this is the end of the year show. I wanted to give some predictions for 2026. So my first prediction is that I think the most goals in the coming year will be Erling Haaland. I think he will score the most goals. He is just. I mean, it's not really a hot take. It's Erling Haaland. Like he's insane, and City's in great form right now. So I think the most goals will be Erling Haaland. I do think also this is just a bonus. Cristiano Ronaldo will get 2,000 goals this year, which is just incredible. I think he's scoring his 957th goal, but I think he'll get there this year. Um, so barring injury, I think the Ballon d'Or will go to Kylian Mbappe. He is just bound to do it and is just in unbelievable form. It seems like scoring a hat trick within 30 minutes is just child's play for him. Moving over to the World Cup, I think that the winner is going to be Spain. I think that they are through and through, position to position, can match up with anybody, have the most depth out of anybody, are the most exciting club, and truly can, just quite hang with anybody. I mean, they I don't think there's much explaining to do. Um, my hot take of the year, this is kind of going hand in hand with the World Cup winner prediction, is I think that the U.S. men's national team are going to reach the quarterfinal. I do. I think that playing on home soil is going to make a difference. And I think that Poach, he always preached culture over tactics. And it seems like that culture is really starting to buy in when they just absolutely dismantled Uruguay a couple weeks ago or a month or two ago in a friendly. And I think that's my hot take of the year. So we'll come back to that when we get to the round of 16 of the World Cup and see if I'm right. I think the champions winner. I think Arsenal are going to do it. I think Arsenal's going to do it. That could be a little homer of me. I'm going to wish it. It is definitely homer of me, but I think that they're going to do it, and they're in the best form. And once they get healthy, there's been some sort of something going on in the training room where everybody just gets a little knocks and is missing time. But I think if they get healthy, they can. I think they're going to do it. I think they're finally going to get over the hump and win a trophy for the first time since the Invincibles. Or not since whatever they won a domestic trophy, but no, it's nothing. They haven't won the league since the Invincibles. But anyways, regardless, moving on. The transfer of the year, I think that the transfer of the year is Michael Olise. I think um, that Palace club, that Palace squad that he was on, winning that FA Cup and going to Bayern and just becoming instantly probably the second best right wing in the world behind Lamine Yamal. And it's incredible to watch. He's just pure class. And it's going to be exciting to watch him in the World Cup as well. And then my breakthrough talent, I thought about this one for a little while. He's already kind of broken through, but I think it's going to be Lennart Carl from Bayern. 17 years old, just a wonder kid. Scored just a beauty against Arsenal in the Champions League a couple weeks ago. And I really think that he is going to be kind of that next guy up who is the young star who he's German and just kind of becoming that next big thing in the world. So those are my predictions for 2025. I'll give you a quick Premier League table update. Arsenal's 5 points clear of City. who are in second with 40 points. Arsenal's at 45. Villa in third at 39 points. Liverpool in fourth with 32 points. Then goes Chelsea, United, Sunderland, Everton, Brentford, and Newcastle round up the top 10. In the relegation zone is West Ham at 18th place. They are 4 points off of safety. Burnley is at 19th at 12 points, and Wolves at 3 points in 20th place. So they will definitely go down. In the championship, we have Coventry is now 8 points clear up top from Middlesbrough, who are in second. We have Ipswich in third, Hull in fourth, Millwall in fifth, and Watford in sixth. Watford is at 38 points, and they are the last club in the playoff if the season were to end today. We'll keep going around. We'll go to La Liga. La Liga's table is looking like so. They are being paced by Barcelona with 46 points, followed by Real Madrid, Atletico, and Villarreal, with Espanyol in fifth and Real Betis in sixth. If we head over to the Bundesliga, we have Bayern first at 41 points. They have yet to drop a game this season. Dortmund in second, Bayer Leverkusen in third, Leipzig in fourth, Hoffenheim in fifth, and Stuttgart in sixth. If we get over to Serie A, we have Inter in first at 36 points with Milan back in second, back 1 point with 35 points. Napoli in third at 34 points. Roma with 33 points. Juve with 32 points. And Como in sixth with 27 points. And then if we go over to League One, finally, we have Lens surprisingly in first place with 37 points. PSG in second, 36 points. Then goes Marseille. Then goes Lille. Lyon, and Rennes in sixth. So that will round up the first episode of the PSN FC podcast. I hope you all enjoy. I'm your host, Quinn Blackman here. Make sure to go watch the video on YouTube and Spotify. Make sure to smash the subscribe button. Make sure to follow us on Spotify. And make sure to keep an eye out on posts on Instagram, as we're going to be pushing more content now as we start to get into a little bit better of a schedule. So I will see you next time.